The Jurassic was over, but the story of the dinosaurs was entering its final and most spectacular.
The continents continued their slow, relentless dance, drifting apart and creating isolated landmasses.
Aren't you then? And on these new continents, a botanical revolution was spreading. The flowering plants.
For the first time, the world was filled with color. These new plants provided a rich, energy food source.
New kinds of herbivores evolved to exploit this new food. The hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs.
Their duckbill was a toothless beak for clipping vegetation, but their real weapon was inside.
Many evolved elaborate crests, which may have been used as resonating chambers for communication, allowing them to talk to each other over long distances.
But the undisputed king of the Cretaceous herbivores was a true icon. Triceratops, the three-horned face. It was a living fortress, a powerful beak for shearing tough plants, and a set of weapons that would make any predator think twice.
Its massive frill served multiple purposes: a shield to protect its neck, an anchor for powerful jaw muscles.
Like the great bison herds of the modern day, they traveled in vast numbers, a formidable river of muscle, horn, and bone. And they used their horns not just for defense, but to battle each other for status and mating rights, a behavior proven by countless fossil injuries.
And if Triceratops was a fortress, that Ankylosaurus was a living tank. Perhaps the most heavily armored dinosaur of all.
Its body was a masterpiece of defense, covered head to toe in interlocking plates of bone, with even its eyelids armored shut. And at the end of its tail, it wielded a weapon capable of shattering bone. A massive, solid club. The ultimate These new herbivores created a paradise for predators, and evolution answered with the most terrifying land predator of all time.
A predator so large, its very footsteps shook the earth. A new tyrant was coming.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, the tyrant lizard king.
Its head was a fortress of muscle and bone. Its forward-facing eyes gave it depth perception, a rare trait for dinosaurs. And it possessed the most powerful bite of any land animal in history, not just for slicing flesh, but for shattering bone, a true bone crusher. Its senses were as formidable as its bite. A brain with huge olfactory bulbs gave it a sense of smell.
Its roar was a weapon of intimidation, a sound that struck terror into the heart of the Cretaceous.
The hunt begins. Despite its size, a T-Rex could run at surprising speeds, an unstoppable 9-ton predator in motion.
It was a pursuit predator, capable of chasing down its prey over short distances, a terrifying combination of size, speed, and power.
But the Cretaceous was a land of giants, and not all of them would run. The T-Rex path is blocked by an equally iconic adversary, Triceratops, the one herbivore on Earth that could, and would, stand up to a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
A large bull, the herd's protector, steps forward. It will not back down. It is a challenge.
The duel of the dinosaurs begins. A battle that raged across North America for millions of years.
The T-Rex's goal, a single, bone-shattering bite. The Triceratops' goal, a single, lethal stab. A painful wound. Today, the fortress holds. The T-Rex, pragmatic and intelligent, knows when a battle is... The late Cretaceous was the pinnacle of dinosaur diversity. On every continent, evolution had predictions. In North America lived the Pachycephalosaurus, the thick-headed lizard. It possessed one of the most bizarre...
The prevailing theory is that they used their heads as battering rams in contests for dominance, much like modern bighorn sheep. Meanwhile, in South America, a different kind of predator had evolved. Carnotaurus, the meat-eating bull, was a specialist in speed. With its long and powerful legs, it was one of the fastest large theropods, built to chase down prey in open environments. A prehistoric cheetah. Perhaps the strangest of all was Therizinosaurus, a plant-eater, armed with the longest claws of any animal in history.
These terrifying claws were not for combat. They were giant hooks, used to pull down high branches. The raptors, with their combination of speed, claws, and intelligence, were perhaps the most sophisticated predators in inches. Their hunting strategy was complex. They worked as a unit to create panic, isolate the weak, and then launch a coordinated assault. The sickle claw was their signature weapon, used to pin down their prey and inflict deep, disabling wounds, allowing the rest of the pack to move in.
But not all herbivores were easy prey. To attack an Ankylosaurus was to attack a living tank, a challenge for even the most powerful predators.
The predator makes a mistake. The tail club, a mass of solid bone, strikes with enough force to shatter the leg of a T-Rex.
Even a tyrant must rest. A full-grown T-Rex likely spent much of its day conserving energy.
Fossil evidence suggests a surprising possibility that these tyrants may have been caring parents, forming family bonds and protecting their young.
The young would have learned to hunt from their parents, honing their killer instincts over many years under watchful eyes before they were ready to rule on their own.
The great herds lived in complex social groups, with evidence of communication and collective defense. But this abundance of prey attracted predators of all sizes. For the hadrosaurs, danger was a constant companion. But the chaos attracts the attention of the king. The arrival of a T-Rex changes everything. The smaller predators know they cannot compete. The T-Rex's power is overwhelming. A single, well-placed bite is all it takes to bring down an animal weighing several tons.
In the brutal world of the Cretaceous, there is only one king. And the king eats first.
Not all smaller theropods were hunters. The oviraptorosaurs, once mistaken for egg thieves, are now known.
The world of the late Cretaceous was incredibly productive, supporting colossal herds of herbivores that numbered in the
These migrations were fraught with peril. Crossing rivers meant exposing themselves to the dangers that lurked beneath the water.
And the rivers of the Cretaceous were home to giants of their own. Dinosuchus, the terror crocodile, an ancient crocodilian that hunted dinosaurs.
With a bite force that may have rivaled a T-Rex's, its ambush was almost always fatal. A true river king.
The raptors, with their combination of speed, claws, and intelligence, were perhaps the most sophisticated predators of the Cretaceous.
The sickle claw was their signature weapon, used to pin down their prey and inflict deep, disabling wounds, allowing the rest of the pack to move in. But the chaos attracts the attention of the king. The arrival of a T-Rex changes everything. The smaller predators know they cannot compete. In the brutal world of the Cretaceous, there is only one king. And the king eats first. Even a tyrant must rest. A full-grown T-Rex likely spent much of its day conserving energy.
While the tyrant king ruled the land, the final act for another dynasty of
Quetzalcoatlus. Named after an Aztec serpent god, it was a pterosaur the size of giraffe. But surprisingly, it was a terrestrial stalker. It spent much of its time on the ground, walking the plain.
Using its incredible height as a vantage point, it hunted small dinosaurs and other animals, striking from above with a swift and lethal pack.
Its takeoff was an explosive display of biomechanical power, a vault into the air that allowed this giant to once again command its kingdom.
And while these giants ruled the sky, the seas of the Cretaceous had become the most dangerous they had ever been in Earth's history.
The oceans were teeming with life, but it was a world of giants, a place where even the predators were prey.
Because a new dynasty of marine reptiles had claimed the throne, the Mosasaurs. They were not dinosaurs, but gigantic aquatic lizards.
Evolved from land-dwelling lizards, they became the ultimate marine predators. A body built for power, and a jaw within a jaw.
Its hunting strategy was one of overwhelming, brutal force. A swift, catastrophic ambush that ended the fight before it could even begin.
For the last 20 million years of the Age of Dinosaurs, the Mosasaurs were the undisputed tyrants of the world's oceans. They were aggressive and territorial. Fossil skulls riddled with healed wounds tell us that fights between these sea dragons, their dominance was so absolute, they could even pose a threat to the titans of the sky if they strayed too close to the water.
On land, in the air, and in the sea, the world was ruled by the most spectacular and terrifying reptiles of all time.
They had conquered the planet and held it for 150 million years. It seemed their reign would last forever. But it would not. But the fate of this world would not be decided on Earth. In the vast, silent emptiness of space,
For millions of years, it had traveled across the solar system. Now, its journey was about to end in the most violent way imaginable.
on Earth, the dinosaurs were completely unaware. Their empire, 150 million years in the making,
The first sign was a new star in the night sky, brighter than any other, a silent harbinger in the darkness.
night after night, it grew brighter. Its movement across the starfield became perceptible. On the final day of the dinosaurs, the object was so bright it was visible in the daylight sky. A beautiful, yet terrifying sight. The animal kingdom grew uneasy. Some creatures, sensitive to subtle changes, could feel that something was coming.
The final moments of their world were deceptively peaceful. An empire on the brink of annihilation, blissfully ignorant.
And then, it arrived. It arrived. An object the size of Mount Everest, hitting the atmosphere.
For the dinosaurs, this was the last thing they would ever see. A sky on
The impact. At the Yucatan Peninsula. An explosion of energy billions of times more powerful than an atomic bomb. The initial blast wave was a wall of incandescent heat, a moving apocalypse that annihilated.
The impact generated an earthquake so powerful it shook the entire planet, triggering volcanic eruptions and landslides thousands of miles away.
The impact unleashed a mega tsunami, a wave perhaps miles high that would race across the globe. Trillions of tons of molten rock were blasted into space, only to fall back down across the entire planet. Instruments. As this debris re-entered the atmosphere, it heated the air to hundreds of degrees, igniting global firestorms. For the dinosaurs, there was nowhere to hide. It was a true planetary-scale apocalypse, hell on Earth. Even the strongest, the tyrants and the titans, were helpless against the wrath of the sky. Millions. The only hope for survival was to be underground, or underwater. For everything on the surface, the immediate effects, but the real killer was not the fire, it was the aftermath. The impact and the fires threw millions of tons of soot and dust into the upper atmosphere. This shroud of darkness enveloped the globe, blocking out the sun. A profound, artificial night. Without sunlight, temperatures plummeted. The planet was plunged into an impact winter, a deep freeze that would prove even deadlier than the fires. For the plants that survived the fire, the darkness was the final blow. Photosynthesis, the engine of across the globe, the green world died. The foundation of the entire food web was being erased from existence. In the oceans, the death of the phytoplankton at the base of the food chain caused a catastrophic collapse that echoed all the way to the top. The great marine reptiles, the mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, with nothing left to eat, vanished from the seas forever. On land, the great herbivores faced their final enemy, starvation. In a world without plants, their fate was sealed. One by one, the last of the great herbivores succumbed. Their size, once their greatest strength.
With the herbivores gone, even the apex predators were reduced to scavenging. The king of the dinosaurs was dethroned by a world without food.
But there were not enough carcasses to sustain a 9-ton carnivore. In the end, even the tyrant king fell. But not all life perished. Small creatures, able to shelter from the cold and eat whatever they could find. The long winter continued, a bleak and desolate age. The world of the dinosaurs was now a frozen memory.
But finally, after years, perhaps even decades of darkness, the great winter was over. And with the return of the sun came the return of life.
The first plants to recover were the ferns. For a time, they covered the globe in a sea of green. A world extinction event left behind a vacant planet. The 150 million year reign of the non-avian dinosaurs was over. The throne of the world was empty.
And so, the meek inherited the earth. For 150 million years, our
The world was theirs for the taking. Free from the terror of the dinosaurs, they emerged from their nocturnal hiding places to conquer the day. But one branch of the dinosaur family tree did survive, the birds. They were a living, singing. But the mammals were not the only survivors with giant ambitions. For a time, it seemed the dinosaurs' relatives were Gastornis, the terror bird, a flightless, carnivorous bird that became the apex predator of the forests of Merites. Its massive beak was a powerful weapon, capable of delivering a killing blow with a single strike.
But the reign of the terror birds was brief. The mammals, with their growing intelligence and pack-hunting strategies,
Freed from 150 million years of suppression, the mammals underwent their own explosive radiation. The first mammalian carnivores appeared, replacing the terror birds as the new apex predators. They were faster, smarter, and hunted in packs. And new herbivores evolved to fill the niches left by the giant dinosaurs. The ancestors of horses.
A new world order was established. A world where our own distant relatives finally had their chance to rule.
And just as the dinosaurs had done before them, the mammals would evolve to colossal sizes, producing giants of their own. The Age of Dinosaurs was over. A spectacular 150 million year dynasty of the most But one branch of the dinosaur family tree did survive, the birds. They were a living, singing Freed from 150 million years of suppression, the mammals underwent their own explosive radiation. But the mammals were not the only survivors with giant ambitions. For a time, it seemed the dinosaurs' relatives would rise again to rule the world.
Gastornis, the terror bird.
Its massive beak was a powerful weapon, capable of delivering a killing blow with a single strike.
But the reign of the terror birds was brief. The mammals, with their growing intelligence and pack-hunting strategy.
A new world order was established. A world where our own distant relatives finally had their chance to rule. The Age of Dinosaurs was over. A spectacular 150 million year dynasty. The legacy of the Cretaceous was one of extremes, the most formidable defenses and the most terrifying.
It gave us the Tyrant King, a creature so powerful it has become a legend.
The Age of Reptiles lasted for over 180 million years. Through it all, through continental shifts and planetary bombardments, life endured. The future now belonged to the small and the adaptable. The mammals, our ancestors, and just as the dinosaurs had done before them, the mammals would evolve to colossal sizes, producing their own dynasty of giants. New predators would rise to hunt them, with their own terrifying weapons and strategies.
The oceans, too, would see the rise of new titans and new terrors.
The world would cool, and ice would once again reshape the planet, creating new challenges for life. And among them, a new kind of intelligence would emerge, one that would eventually reshape the planet in its own image. Next time, on the final episode of A History of Life.
We enter the Cenozoic, the empire of the mammals. Silence.
Thankfully, someone always knows what's truly important.
From our prehistoric family to yours.
Thanks for watching!